really? Why
So
is
it
that?
seems.
Oh, for God's sake, I forgot to turn on that. I'm in... apologies everyone, we are just getting live as the race is starting. I messed up starting the stream. I didn't click the start stream button on the webpage, but anyway, the race has just gotten underway with David Saber holding on to the lead from pole position. And Yves Placé is second, where he qualified, and third is Grant Rideau in the shadow, who also qualified there, followed by David Jakes in a one-off drive for the Works McLaren team, and Martin Lacina rounding out the top 5.
Whited seems to be on the grass, recovering now. David Saber still on the lead. And a bit of a battle as predicted right behind him, because Grant Rideau is already trying to put some pressure on Yves Placé, and David Jakes comes right behind him, as well as Martin Lacina. Those are, of course, the top drivers here with very similar cars, and we can expect them to be fighting it out for the whole race.
Certainly so.
Raúl Jereb, followed by Steve Parker, come next. Steve showing his quality. Hopefully he will be lucky this time with the engine, but Raúl is having a great season so far with this car. Jean-Marie Placé already well positioned, right behind Steve Parker and catching up.
Wow, he's had a great start indeed. He qualified in 19th.
He started to come to grips with the car, followed by Pascal Mikula, Adam Hackman, David Junt.
Oh, we have a spinner.
Oh,
no,
Steve
it's up.
Parker.
No! No!
My goodness, that's bad luck for him.
Dearie me. Well, if he didn't have bad luck, he would have no luck at all by the way this season is going for him. That's really unfortunate.
Well, he had to quit. That's unfortunate. So David Saber is opening now a big gap in the lead, showing that the factory McLaren is certainly the car to beat here, and with these long straights it can.
When Yves Placé, sorry to cut you off, Yves Placé had a spin.
Oh yeah, he spun, yes.
Let's see if I can get to him in the list. There he is. Let's see if we can see exactly what happened. Looks like I did hear someone in the background, but I didn't think he was actually off like that. But it looks like he just tried to carry a bit too much speed going into turn 3, and that was enough to send him onto the gravel. And of course the gravel is very grippy.
And Lacina now maintaining their differences, and I believe they are trying to not to lose David Saber instead of fighting among them, which is probably the best option at this point, as otherwise they can make things too easy for David Saber. Raúl Jereb getting sideways there, entering the corner.
When he's under a bit of pressure here from Gabriel Sturr. Sturr backs off and stays behind for now.
Oh, his Placé is now very far behind. That's really unfortunate. That spin has cost him dearly. Jason Whited is also recovering positions now, because he went to the absolute bottom of the field after exiting to the grass. He has already dispatched Jason Fitch and Christian Dogger. Let's see if he can join Yves and go climb upwards. And Bruno Chacon in the grass now.
We have, yeah, Bruno Chacon in the gravel, and Alberto Jr. was out there as well. It looks like Bruno will be able to get out of there, just about, and keep his race going. It's an unfortunate situation, but that's how it is sometimes. It's Jason Whited, I believe. Yes.
Pascal Calita is in the probably for repairs, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that must be from lap 1, presumably, because it looks like he's a lap down on everyone else. will be in a moment's time.
And David Sabre looks like a fox pursued by hungry wolves or dogs. Oh, Latina is in the grass. Probably was pushing it too much.
Very likely. He was trying to hang on to the top 3, which are all in slightly faster cars than what his is.
Position for Gabriel Stur at point. He's right behind that group that is pursuing David Sabre. Therefore, I believe that's 5th position. Yes, 5th position. Pursued himself by Jean-Marie Placet, Raoul Jareb, and David Jones, which is not exactly what you would like to want to see in the mirror.
Indeed.
But anyway, hang in there.
Let's see if David Sabre is... Yeah, he's just about to finish his lap, so since we didn't get to do
Fitz it... Fitz is in the gravel and he has hit the barriers. That's mean that he probably has some damage already in the car. Yeah, he's stopping. He has lost the side of the car. Let's see if he is going to hang on or if he's quitting.
I think he's trying to get out without blowing the engine.
Well, and David Sabre isn't able to get away as easily as we would have thought, looking at the lap times he was cleaning qualifying and warm-up.
Indeed.
Not in warm-up, actually. He didn't exit in warm-up.
Well, let's see, in the meantime...
But it seems that with a car full of fuel, the guys behind are not losing touch with him.
Indeed. Oh, and we have another one off in the grass. I believe that's Pascal Khalid, just rejoining from the pits.
Just came out of the pits. Yes, from repairs. And Yves Placet still in the painful way up again, catching up with Brian Janik right now, coming to that point where Pascal Khalid is letting everybody pass, as he's already, I believe it's 1 or 2 laps down.
I believe it's 2 laps down to the leaders.
Yeah, 2 laps down. So the only probably good thing that there is in this track is that it being so long, it's harder to get a lap down.
Indeed. And of course this is a very reminiscent, or however you want to pull it. This is a sight that David Sabre has seen before, a shadow right behind him. Him and...
They're closing in now, really.
Indeed. McLaren and the Shadow had a fantastic fight at Saint-Givit. As Grant has a bit of a moment, just about holds on. That was a very wild ride, ending up just a little bit wide, coming through the Motorola left-hander.
He probably isn't going quick enough for David Jack's taste. He's now trying to push him.
Possibly, or he's simply doing the oval bit of 2 cars are faster than 1.
Oh, that wiggle cost David Sabre dearly, because Grant almost gained the position to pass.
It looks like Grant is looking for the run, looking for the good exit. Looks like he should have a decent one. He's getting a little bit closer. I don't think he's close enough though.
David protecting the inside there. This is one of the... This turn is very peculiar because it's the road is slightly bent there. It makes a very sweeping, slow turn to the left. So you will actually see many drivers there on the left side who actually then brake straight to the outside. And that's not just because they are blocking position, but it's also the quickest line around, because it gives you a clear, nice, straight brake.
Ooh. That was a bit, cutting it a bit fine. I believe there were a slight touch, but both cars are able to continue, as Grant is very wide in the carousel. Just about, looks like he's just about holding on, he is. But that lost him a lot of time. But yes, and also down in that turn 5 left-hander at the bottom of the hill, we'll see many drivers running wide in the heat of the battles, because it's a very tricky braking zone if you're side by side with someone.
Oh, Martin Latina just spun on power coming out of the corner.
Oh, but a really nice recovery.
Back. Yes, but that was a warning. Gabriel Ster is already suffering the pressure from David Young. And Jean-Marie Placet has lost ground there because... No, wait, I can't see him.
Oh, he's way back. I wonder if those tire marks I could see was him.
He must have had a track outing or something, like, because or a spin.
Oh, it looks like his car is...
Fell.
Yeah, it looks like his car is very evil. I believe those tire marks we saw in the braking zone was his. So he will have been in the barriers, I believe, with the car crabbing, moving around that much.
Well, these cars are very evil in any case.
Yes, but I mean, going in a straight line in 4th gear and the car twitching is a bit... feels a bit much. Oh, and here we have another very neat battle. It's Bors and Pascal Mikla, yet again.
Sorry, don't know if you mentioned it. Apologizes if you did, but David Jacks was able to overtake Grant Riddle and is now pursuing David Saber.
Oh, we missed that. See if we can possibly get that on the replay.
Latina's on the grass again. He's really having to the car too much to be able to keep up with the other cars. His McLaren is a bit more dated compared with the other ones, so he must do the extra effort to keep up with them.
Oh, it happened up in Motorola turn, the passing. Grant ran wide again, and this time David Yates was close enough to bounce.
So yeah, as you mentioned, there's Karl Mikula, Dan Hackman and Juha Boss. Hackman and Boss, those seem to get together in all races. And right behind them is Yves, who has already been able to climb up to that position.
Indeed, but Yves was in the middle of that fight, so I believe he may have had a moment. Possibly with Mikula, because Mikula was second in the line when we were watching them earlier. Oh, as Hackman goes for a move. Did he actually pull that off? I believe he did. What a fantastic pass. Let's watch that on replay on board his car. Because it looks like he's way behind Juha Boss going into Canada corner, but under braking he completely outbrakes him. Absolutely marvelous move.
Hesitated there for some reason, and Adam Hackman didn't think twice. Now it's Pascal who is trying to overtake. Let's see if he manages. This is a very dangerous place to overtake. No, he backs it off. Because this is a very quick corner, and the technique to overtake here is not as much being quicker or taking the corner better, but actually being able to stand side by side with the other car, because this is so quick that only one car can get through. Oh, and Yves has spun again behind Pascal. When he was catching up, oh no, he has lost 2 more positions. 3.
And that was very close for Jean-Marie, trying to navigate his way past.
That's really bad luck for him today.
I think it's mainly down to him having to try and overdrive the car to be quick.
So Fritz is still in the race, hanging on with that. I don't know what to call it, because it's only the remainings of a McLaren. Side pod is missing. Yes.
Oh, and behind him Bruno Chacon goes off into that gravel trap as well.
Yeah, he probably preferred that instead of finding a car sideways in the middle of the track.
Indeed. It looks like hopefully he'll get out yet again. Was Pascal Kalidas also had a small spin. Well, it looks like the lead group is more or less keeping their distance to one another for now. Martin Lassina, of course, with his small mistakes, is has dropped back a little bit. And here comes David Junt, now in 5th position, sorry, 6th position. No, 5th position. So he's climbed a bit since the start. Gabriel Sturr in 6th, Diadrio in 7th, a good race for him so far. 8th for Adam Hackman, and 9th and 10th for Bors and Mikola, still tagging along for the race, for the foreseeable future, I should say. And here comes Pascal up the inside.
Ooh, that wasn't the inside, that was the outside.
Ooh.
That Juha was trying to make oh. I think that Juha wasn't exactly happy with the maneuver, and he's letting Pascal know it.
Yeah, I believe so. Pascal was weaving a little bit on the braking, but that's more down to the car, I feel. But yeah,
I think it was a clean pass, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of side-by-side contact, but when here comes Bors going up the inside in turn 5. Oh, and Pascal sideways. You have Bors taking avoiding actions. And I think Bors is quicker on the trickier part of the track right here, but Mikola, with his slightly older car, is possibly a little bit quicker down the straight. Not due to any engine over. No, I tried to use a straight translate the Swedish word. Any power advantage, but rather a lack of downforce.
So Juha seems to have accepted the situation and will now try to be following Skull if he can.
Here is Brian Yannick with Jason. Sorry, that's Raoul Jereb. So Jereb has fallen back. Looks like he has a bit of a dent in his car, so presumably he's been off somewhere. Most likely place on the track would probably be the carousel. I noticed a lot of cars struggling to keep the car on, keep it on the grey stuff there.
It's definitely a turn where all cars will understeer, and these ones the more so, because they are absolutely brick for traction. These are cars that you see where they are accelerating when coming out of the corners. They are picking up the throttle only when they are very much way out of the corner. You can't accelerate before that because the car would immediately cut or either spin and do a 180, and you end up looking where you came from.
Indeed, and another fight I just came across is an inter-Porsche battle between Timo Vermeersch in the 91710. I believe he's in that. Who was
oh, what did Felipe? Yeah.
As Felipe Enrique had a bit of a moment in his I believe he's in a 91710 and Vermeersch is in a 917 PA. Both Porsche powered, of course. So both struggling a little bit in a straight line around here, but at least that car should be nice to drive, as it looks like David Yates has made a mistake somewhere because he's now down into 3rd position again. Both of them a bit further behind David Saber. But with that, let's have a quick look through some of the...
So David, I believe, is coming now to lap car.
Very nice of Philippe, getting way out of the way there. Since we were off the air when we went through them, let's quickly go through the developments. Where Christian Dauge joins the Bob Nagel Racing. That's the light blue machine that Jan Titz drove earlier in the season. Jean-Marie Placé, the father, I believe, of Yves, joins the Performance Engineering
No,
Limited
Yves
car.
is the father of Jean-Marie, the son.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. So the son, Jean-Marie, another junior, joins us. He's been with us for quite a while, at least as long as I've been at HSO. So a good 6 years he's been racing on and off with us. So Jean-Marie joins the Performance Engineering Limited car. That's the, I believe it's the green car that Jason White used earlier in the season, and Alberto Equino joins the Barrett Racing team, the yellow and grey slash silver
Jason White has had a
car.
and exited, and he has lost lots of positions now. He's in the grass.
So you said Jason White did, right?
Whited, yes.
There we are. Let's see if we can have a quick look at what went on there. Oh, he did what many have done before him. Well, Grant has done before him anyway. He ran wide coming out of the Motorola bend and struggled to keep control of his car, but in the end ended up out in the grass and not the gravel. He stopped just ahead but had to reverse to get going again. So Whited having a bit of a difficult race. Well, Jean-Marie is out. That's unfortunate. It doesn't look like we'll get it on the replay either. I believe it was 2 laps ago actually. So my apologies for missing that. Let's see, I'll have a quick look if there's anything else we should quickly go through. Well, we have the points, let's quickly go through them as well. Current points leader is David Saber. He had a couple of difficult rounds, the most recent ones. He finished 5th.
Jean-Marie has quit.
Yeah, I said he was retired a little while ago. I didn't catch what happened to him, unfortunately. Commentator's curse, presumably. But David Saber is in the lead, 3 points ahead of Yves Placé, who finished 2nd, I believe, last time out. He's on 62 points. David Yates currently sitting in 3rd in the race. Is also 3rd in the standings on 36 points. He was not racing last time out.
Khalid is on the grass now.
Okay.
What? He's been so slow in the grass. Pascal Khalid. Very likely a damaged car. He's probably going to sit because he's hitting the wall intermittently.
That's unfortunate. Was a bit of a hookup, I just noticed. Yep, a change in the lead while I was looking through the points. Let's quickly bring that up. No, it was not a change in the lead. Saber got the power down. It was side by side coming out of the last corner. Let's have a quick look. He got held up by the left car of Jason Whited, who's had a torrid race now by his standards. And as you could see, he was Grant and David was side by side at the earlier part on the straight, but Saber's higher power meant he could pull ahead anyway. That was a very close call for David.
Oh, Grant is really putting pressure on him now.
Evidently so. And Grant pushing very hard. He almost ran wide in that quick right-hander.
This is a very nervous car, the Shadow. It's certainly a car for aliens, for very quick drivers, as was Austin Ogonowski and Semis Grant Bridle. Because you can see with those tiny front wheels, it's always, as Jeremy Clarkson said from the 911, it's always looking as if it's waiting there to try to kill you when you least expect it.
With, I believe, Mr. Oliver, who raced the car, was definitely a very brave driver. Grant hitting the inside curbing, just about held on. Tries to look for a good run onto the front straight. It looks like David is, at least for now, able to hold on without too much trouble. It's only down into turn 5 and 6 that he's really under pressure. It's possible that Grant is able to get the power down a little bit better out of here than David is. Although Grant ran a little bit wide this time, so David Saber will pull out a bit of a gap. And a light blue car we can see in front is Christian Dauge, who's now ending up a lap down, but he's certainly having a slightly better run, at least it seems like it, than he's had previously, sitting in 17th at the moment. Let's quickly try and get through the last 2 points paying positions. Places in the standings, which is Jason Whited in 4th on 34 points, 2 points behind David Yates, and a further 3 points behind is David Jund, who won last time out at Mid-Ohio. Let's bring us back into the action. It looks like Saber is pulling away, while Yves is trying to get by Gerard Riot, as Gerard stays wide and lets him by. Very sporting of him.
Well, those are probably 2 of the most sporting and veteran drivers we have here. They've been at HSO from the very beginning. They are great guys, not just good drivers and very gentlemanly, but certainly a pillar of the community, as the Americans like to say.
Yeah, I've rarely had opportunity to race either of them. They are usually way faster than me, but it's very rare that I hear anything bad of either.
Is now handling with Pascal Mikula. It seems that Mikula was able to get by him at some point, because I think that Raul was for them. And you have Boss also in the front, so those have trade positions.
Indeed. And of course Raul, from the looks of things, is suffering from a slightly bent car. He has a dent in the left side, so as I said earlier, I believe he was off in the carousel, picking up just a little bit of damage. Not sure how that would be affecting his car. When in background we can see Hackman and Brian Yannick going at it, going down into the Canada corner. And Hackman a little bit sideways, trying to get on the power. I'd assume it's a situation of Hackman having more downforce for the twister bits, but Brian, with a older McLaren, has slightly better drag, seeing as he has no rear wing. Although it seems I'm wrong about that, looking at the straight line speed right then.
And Jarev is pushing really with Pascal Mikula, and Pascal moved to one side, and I don't think Raul was expecting that. It touched slightly.
Ooh, now that looked very close indeed, and it looks like both of them are actually closing up to Habos. I'll just quickly let you have a look at the overall standings if you have a favorite driver, which we haven't covered much in this race. While you can see the battle in the bottom right. And retirees so far, it's unfortunately Pascal Khalide, Jean-Marie Placé and Steve Parker on, I believe that was lap 1. Oh, as we can see, I believe that's Philippe Enrique running wide in the kink, and it was a
He's
lead.
going to the grass to let people by. I don't think it was any kind of accident. So Pascal Mikula is again catching up with Juha Boss and with Raúl Jareb on his tail. This is a three-way battle that is going on already for several laps. And they had also a fight at Mid-Ohio, if I remember correctly, between Juha Boss and Pascal Mikula. It was decided in the very last lap.
Even Ryan Yannick was involved in that as well. He's not that far behind.
Chapman also putting some pressure on Jan Kowalski there.
See, here we are. VRM, one of the nicest handling cars in the mod, but unfortunately not that quick.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Raúl has almost ran Pascal Mikula. It seems that braking point was earlier than expected. That's also because Pascal had Juha in front, so he couldn't go for the normal braking point, and they are now going down this very quick one.
Oh, this will be close.
Yeah. Oh, he was able to speed completely, but let's see what happens now at the exit.
Oh, he gets the cut back. He should have the position up here.
Better traction for Juha Boss there.
Oh no, 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 no! Oh!
He missed that by a very tiny bit.
Only loses three, technically four positions because of that slight mistake. He's now behind Brian Yannick. He won't be too happy with that, I don't think.
Nope.
Didn't look like it was anyone's fault in terms of contact or anything though. It was just the tiniest of errors, and these cars, the slightest of errors bites very hard indeed.
No changes at the front so far, and we are only 16 laps into this race. Because while 51 laps didn't apparently seem to be too much, fact is this track is so long that despite almost we have only covered 16 laps.
This is incredible that they've been going at it for more or less an hour now, and we're not even halfway through. As we can see, the battle between Raúl and Pascal is still going on. Raúl looking for the inside here, going down into turn 1. Nice up-braking maneuver, no histrionics whatsoever, and Alberto Jr. getting out of the way as well. Stays out of the way of Adam, very nicely done. On both Raúl and Pascal a little bit sideways. It looks like that's our closest battle on track at the moment. But let's see, we are about a third of the way through. A bit more than a third. Slightly more than a quarter of the way through, but let's have a quick look at the standings anyway. David Saber is in the lead, enjoying quite a big lead now compared to what it's been earlier in the race. Grand Ridol lies second with David Yates third. Fourth still for Martin Lassina, despite not quite being able to hold on to the top 3. He's way ahead of the rest and having a nice race. Fifth for David Junt, in a bit of a no man's land as well. Sixth for Gabriel Sturr, also looks at things in a bit of a Bit of dead space. No one in front, no one behind. He's placé 7th, so he's been able to get by Gerard, which now we saw earlier. Gerard Rion in 8th, with 9th being Raoul Jereb, going sideways, going into the last turn, so he's gotten by Pascal Mikla, which he did in turn 1, and he's been able to pull away. Pascal Mikla in 10th, with Adam Hackman just behind him in 11th, 12th for Brian Yannick, and 13th for Juha Boos, 14th for Mikael Drexler, having a nice quiet race. 15th.
Chapman now with Kowalski. He's putting some pressure there.
Indeed, just as we get to them. 15th for Kowalski, 16th for Adam Hackman. Looks like they are very evenly matched. 17th for Jason Whitehead. Looks like he's given up on a top finish. 18th for Christian Dauge, having a, at least by the looks of things, yet again a better round than he's had so far this season. Although he has a little bit of damage to the left side. 19th for Timo Vermeersch, having another quiet race, but he had a bit of a battle with his Porsche compatriot Filipe Enrique, which I assume he enjoyed. 20th for Alberto Jr., having a nice race, picking up experience and staying away from any incidents. 21st for Filipe Enrique, and 22nd, and I believe last running is Jason Fitch. No, sorry, Bruno Chacon is also still running in 23rd.
Yes, he's coming out of it now. He was in probably for repairs and is now 3 laps down to the leader.
Yes, I noticed he was going very slowly earlier, so I think you're right in terms of repairing damage. And he is our last runner, still only 3 retirees, who all retired fairly early in the race.
And the action on track now is between Karl Mikula and Adam Hackman, as well as Mick Chapman and Jan Kowalski.
And Chapman and Kowalski is also just about to get lapped by David Saber, so he's putting on a...
maybe a chance there if Chapman is able to capitalize.
Looks like he was very cautious, letting Saber by though.
He's really trying to open a gap with the other cars, because there you see Grant very quickly coming there, and he will now use the toe in the straight. That will be good for him.
Indeed.
This will be delicate because they're coming to that quick corner, and see, let's see what Kowalski does. Yep, he moves in front of Grant Riddle.
Don't think he's close enough to hold him up though.
Grant isn't willing to lose any time.
Oh no 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 no! Oh dearie me! Saber's in the gravel. Oh, and he spins as well, trying to get back on the way.
That's unfortunate.
And that's one of those situations where David tried to get by Filipe Enrique, who was laps down, but they miscommunicated with each other. Because Enrique was leaving the inside open, and that's where David wanted to go.
Well,
sorry, that's where...
I'd also say that Filipe Enrique was already inside the turn, so there's not much more he could do. But probably he slowed down too much and caught David a bit unaware there.
Indeed.
Anyway, this has been demolishing for David. He's now 15 seconds behind the lead. Let's see what happens now.
Indeed, and Grant Riddle will probably be...
He's able to cap again with the leaders because he has a very quick car. I want to think that he has been pacing himself. And, well, we are not even half race, so there's plenty of time for him to catch up.
Indeed, and here comes up towards Filipe Enrique again. Presumably Felipe gets way out of the way, having a bit of a notch with the wall actually, but he made clear to stay out of his way that time round. So Grant Woodall inherits the lead with David's troubles, and Grant, I'm pretty sure, would be fairly happy with that. And Yates, of course, just sitting slightly behind Grant, will be hoping for a bit of an increase in pace from himself, so that he can possibly get a win here. Montalcino, of course, climbs up to third, but only just ahead of David Saber. And of course, rounding out the top 5 is David Junt, still trying to get closer to the leaders. And another one who I believe will be fairly happy with that, with this progress in the race, with what has just happened, will be Yves Placé, who's sitting in 7th, trying to catch up to Gabriel Sturr. And he's of course sitting 2nd, so he's currently losing out, falling further behind David Saber, but with Saber falling back, it won't be with as many points. Just have a quick look. It looks like it's as Kowalski has a bit of a spin. Looks like it's fairly quiet, so let's jump on board with jump on board with Gerard Rion actually, and have a proper look at the track, since we didn't get to do that either when we were offline.
Kowalski has quite good suspension damage. Seems that he had an accident.
And that's unfortunate. So Rio went through turn 1. This is turn 3. Going on to a very long straight. You really want to have a good exit here. Carry as much speed as possible at the end of the straight. Going into one of the best overtaking opportunities at turn 5. Tricky curve braking zone. Fairly tight. And up the hill into under the Toyota bridge, into this fairly tight slow left-hander, into a quicker right-hander. Very tricky with the gravel on the outside. Back down the hill we go into this left-hander. As Rio, he actually has a hard spin. That lets Raul Jareb back by. I believe that was indeed. And into the carousel we go. A right-hander that you'd never think will end. Just keeps going. And then at the end it tightens on you, causing even more grief. Down Kettle Bottoms and the Kink, where many drivers have had crashes in the past. Up towards Canada Corner, another tricky braking zone and a very tight right-hander. Another place where many drivers have had troubles, both in this race and back in the day. This left-hander under the Motorola bridge is very tricky, as we can see with Gerard running a little bit wide. And into the last corner we go, this fairly quick right-hander. And up this very steep increment towards the start-finish line.
And Adam is about to pass Pascal there. There was a small error by Pascal coming out of the corner, a bit too optimistic there with the throttle. And now we'll see what happens. No, it's so quick in the straight. Hackman isn't able to get the position. Is he? No.
Looks like he did. What a fantastic pass.
Shouldered his way through.
Oh, but he's very deep here.
Now Pascal got the better of that. That exit is going to... Look how long it took for them to pick up the throttle again. And this is looking bad for Adam Hackman. Because it's clear that Lola has a lot of top speed.
Very much so. It's a slightly older car, so it doesn't have quite the downforce of Hackman's slightly newer machine.
David Saber is at least able to get back to the podium now because he overtook David Junt probably some laps ago.
What do you mean?
And David Jax is on the lead now. It seems there was a... Let's see what happened to Grant Riddle.
Oh yeah, there is.
He's
Oh,
now
Grant, I believe Grant
behind.
span. Oh,
Yes, he had a spin.
Oh, no!
There. Oh, with Michael Drexler. Michael Drexler had a spin and Grant was an innocent victim.
And nothing really wrong that Mikael did either. It was just wrong place at the wrong time.
Whoa, and David Jax almost lost it dead. No, he's in the grass.
Oh, Grant's off again.
David
no,
Jax is in the grass now.
Oh, Jax as well. No.
He has hit the wall, and David Saber is coming back to get his lead. And why is David not able to go out of that wall? It's like sucking him there. That's only going to damage his car, probably bend suspension.
Here he comes.
Oh dear,
Oh.
dear my.
Okay, at least off the racing line.
Good way of rejoining the tracker. Let's see now if his car has some damage. Seems that he's cornering okay.
I see it's just looking at the off. He just entered with a bit too much speed. He just slightly nudged the wall. And then just can't get out without rubbing the barriers. I see Grant was off as well
has had
somewhere.
to abandon. Drexler got the broken suspension out of that incident at some point.
Well, Grant hit Drexler, so presumably that's where, unfortunately, the damage... Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Oh, dearie me, that looks bad. Looks like it was down in... I believe this is Canada Corner. Oh, it looks like... Oh! Oh, dearie me, it's in the last corner. Mikola and Hackman are together. Hackman looks up the inside. Looks like Mikola lost it on his own. And then came... Oh... Ryan Yannick had nowhere to go. He was very deep in the corner as well, and contact was made. Hackman too was in the gravel, but was able to avoid any major damage, I believe. But both Yannick and Mikola with heavy damage to their cars. So they'll drop way back here. That's very unfortunate for both of them. They were having a great race. And through all that, David Saber is back in the lead. Some drivers are simply lucky. One way or the other. So Saber's first, Grant Riddle second, third for David Junt now.
So things are as they were some time ago, only with some damage in the cars.
Well, almost as they were before. David Junt is up into the podium finishing position in third. So Matlasina has lost out somewhere, had a big moment. Not entirely sure where that would have been. It doesn't look like he has any damage, so presumably he ended up in the gravel somewhere.
So Pascal definitely had to quit. That damage was too much.
Which is very unfortunate indeed.
And Yannick is still in that spot. We'll see if he's able to repair or not.
I definitely hope so.
Adam
Adam
Hackman
Hackman is out as well.
Yes, with suspension damage. He was in the wall
sorry.
some moments ago.
Okay, I thought he missed the wall. It looks like Brian Yannick has retired as well. Suddenly everyone is dropping. And Jason Fitch. No, sorry, that's Jan Kowalski's. No, that is Jason
and Brad
Fitch.
is in the lead again. What happened?
Well, I'm not sure.
Because I'm watching him out of track. Oh, David Saber was in the grass a moment ago. Wait a moment, that's why he got the lead. Why Brad got the lead. Not sure what happened there. There's lots of action in the track now, so it's hard to follow it.
Indeed, and Grant loses out of position now, as David Saber went by.
I think it's case here is that Grant has a damaged car. He can put up much of a fight. He's just trying to be.
Oh, Saber's in the gravel again.
Oh, he just what's that? A wheel there?
I believe it's a wheel in the background.
So it seems to be that Grant has a damaged car. He can put up much of a fight, but as long as David Saber makes an error, he's able to capitalize. And there is David Jund now putting some pressure on him. That's clearly the case of having a damaged car.
User joined your channel.
As we are now joined by Pascal Michela, as we saw Saber in the gravel. Yeah, looked like you had a pretty hectic race going there, Pascal. A lot of battles, and unfortunately it came unstuck in the end. But,
it's not that I came stuck at what killed me, but I must say you're right. I had a few good battles. They were heated but fun, mostly clean. But what in the end what killed me was, well, the battle I had with Adam Hackman. Very heated, resulted in both of us going off in the last corner. He went into the gravel trap, I didn't, and I stopped. I wanted to go again, checked my right, and suddenly there was Brian Janik who completely T-boned me.
It looked, from what we could see on the replay, it looked like you and Adam both went in way too hot into the last corner, as you said, both span and...
Yeah, probably.
It looks like Yannick got distracted by that, messed up his braking and had nowhere to go either.
He just completely T-boned me, and I mean, I tried to get back to the pits, maybe my crew could repair it, but they didn't do anything. I was standing in the pit stall, they didn't do anything, so I thought, you know, they probably don't think it's worth repairing, so I just called it a day and was out.
Well, that's very unfortunate, but at least you had some good pace, some good battles, and
I was actually faster than I thought I would be, to be completely honest. I was not feeling good with the car at all, practicing, and I was pretty proud of the car in the race, yeah. Anyway, well, that's me done. You keep having fun on the broadcast. I'm gonna tune in as well, so see you.
Okay, take care, and thank you for joining us for a quick chat.
Alright, take care.
User disconnected from your channel.
So that's Pascal Michela, unfortunately out of this race. While we were chatting to him, Grant and David Jund was having a bit of an argument over first place, but for now it looks like Grant is holding on to that. Looks like everyone else is, unfortunately for us, fairly spread out.
Well, the leaders certainly are not, because Grant is suffering a lot of pressure from David Jund now.
Apologies if you could hear me moving my headphones a little bit. They were getting a bit uncomfortable. But yeah, it looks like they are definitely very close to one another for the lead. But for now it looks like Grant has just about enough speed to stay ahead.
Yeah, but I'm betting that David Junt, who is a very, very cool-headed driver, I'm betting that he is right now very sure that Grant has damage in his car, and what he's doing is simply he's waiting for the error to happen and trying to put a bit of pressure on Grant Riddle, and keeping it for a later moment, because he knows that sooner or later he will be able to pass. And then once he has passed, it's very hard that Grant recovers that position, because with a damaged car you might be able to keep somehow a pace. You can settle on a pace and to a certain extent keep the other car behind, but you clearly don't have the conditions to overtake, to be aggressive and to get back a position that you have lost.
Indeed, and you were also talking about the smaller front wheels on the Shadow, and that also plays into his situation. Because as we've said in previous rounds, the smaller wheels generate more wear because they travel, well, technically travel longer than the other tires.
Yeah, they spin. They do more spins per each yard of advancement than the others because of the smaller diameter.
And of course the contact patch is also slightly smaller than for the other cars, which also plays in with the wear. And by the looks of things, Junt is a little bit quicker in the inner loop, the tighter, twistier, more technical stuff, while Grant is definitely quicker from about this point down to turn 1 or 2.
Yes, we know that the Shadow is a very quick car in straight line. It had a very powerful engine, and the beauty of those small wheels was actually to have that smaller front section, that much lower nose in the car, which makes it much more aerodynamic. So that's basically the reason why it is so quick in the long straights.
Which of course was somewhat of a masterpiece in terms of gaining speed, but it caused other troubles. But we can see here he pulls out a big gap to David Junt down the front straight. Looks like Yates and Saber could end up in a battle very shortly as well. Which could be interesting to watch. Oh, and I believe we had someone in the... Oh no, that's Jason Fitch finally out of the race after all his
Yeah, he was clearly having some damage and wasn't able to keep the car on track. Very unfortunate.
Well, he gave it a good go anyway, and should be proud of that. Just unfortunate that he couldn't have a bit more luck, and looks like David Saber in the meantime has made a slight error. He's a bit further behind Yates now than he was before.
It's costing him a lot because he hasn't had any big shunt, he hasn't hit anything. I don't think his car is damaged at all, but those small errors in the least convenient moments are causing him lots of trouble in this race, where he was a clear favorite.
Indeed.
He's catching up with David Jacks now, but we'll see how far this goes.
It'll be interesting to see. While we wait for him to catch up, let's... Oh, as he has a slight spin coming through Canada. trying to get the car turned around. Here comes Martin Lasina. So Lasina again gets by David Saber. That's a bit unfortunate for David, but again Niels will be, I'm fairly sure, a bit happier with that, seeing as he loses a position. So lesser points to regain later in the season for Yves. But yeah, seeing as there are no real battles on track at the moment, let's bring ourselves to the trivia question. Which reads as follows. Who won the last Can-Am race held at Road America on August 25th, 1974? Was it A. Jackie Oliver, B. Scooter Patrick, or C. Bob Nagel? That will leave you something to have a bit of a ponder about. Meanwhile, Grant was on the grass, going through the kink, so Junt closes up once again.
This is the typical situation in which you don't want to be, with an ill-handling car and a skilled driver on a decent car right behind you.
And even more so you don't want to be...
you know is not two errors, but instead of capitalizing on yours. So here we see in the straight the difference we were talking about. Here's with the shadow is certainly able to open a gap with the McLaren.
And of course that dreadful feeling for Grant is made even larger by the fact that he's actually leading at the moment.
Yeah, he has the most to lose at this point.
Both of them.
So there's 30 laps into the race now.
All those 15 to 13 laps flew by quickly, as we can see some smoke up ahead. It's Christian Dauger and I believe Bruno Chacon. Not sure if they are in a battle or not.
There's some damage in Dauger's car. He seems to have way more comfortable in this car than in the other. Chacon was out of the way.
Oh, but he did hold up Grant just a little bit. And Grant very deep. Oh no, there's a... Ooh. That was a close call. But yeah, Grant got slightly held up, went very deep into that left-hander before the carousel, and Junt, carrying a bit more speed, misjudged it and gave him a slight nudge. Grant held on for dear life. As now they go by Christian Dauger. Oh, and
will be able to drive that car as Grant is doing now.
Definitely takes very good driver indeed to get that kind of pace out of a damaged car. Also kudos to David, who's holding on to that shadow with a technically lesser car, although it's still a McLaren, so any of the newer McLarens, the M8s, are good cars. It's interesting to see both Grant and David going sideways into turn 3. David Saber has had another issue. He's now behind Gabriel Sturr.
Yes, we didn't catch that, but it seemed to be really comfortable today, or concentrated. It's weird.
Very nice pass there though. Going around outside into turn 1.
Well, Gabriel knew that he would not be able to resist it much, so it would make no sense to make things more difficult for him. Luis Place is now there, up to 7th position.
Yeah, but that's even worse for David Saber. Since Saber and Place is in the championship hunt, playing 1st and 2nd respectively. Only 3 points apart. It definitely looks like, as long as Saber keeps the car on the track, he is quicker than Eves, but if Eves can get by Gabriel Sturr here, it'll only be 1 or 2 points lost for Eves. Where Sturr has a moment, he's in the gravel, trying a bit too hard, and that's Eves up into 6th position. Very unfortunate for Gabriel, who's trying to get out of the gravel. I think he has a bit of a gap still. Yeah, he has a huge gap to Raoul Jereb, who's behind him, so he should be able to hold on to his position, at least for the foreseeable future. Here we are again in the fight for the lead as Grant runs wide, both of them very sideways, heading into the carousel. Don't want to be side by side through here, boys. Very close for Yun to end up out in the gravel trap.
That's also a big risk for David John, because Grant's car is obviously ill-handling, it's destroyed, and well, that can mean that you can easily get in an accident if he gets into one, even if completely unintentional.
Very much so. And I'm assuming that David is weighing that risk compared to actually getting the points for the win, or well, winning at all.
David has more pace and he knows it. If he is able to pass, Grant won't recover that position. At least not unless there is an error from David. But David is patient, it's one of his characteristics while driving. He is a good endurance driver for that very same reason. And he will be putting pressure there. Oof, he almost got it there, but look how he doesn't really pick risks.
Grant on the grass.
Let's see what happens now. Grant is in the inside and he is able to brake very late. No, David is probably not going to. He'll be going for a good exit from one of the turns. There, for example, on the inside, but no, Grant covers that well. Not here. Maybe after the next right one, on the rundown.
Noticed
Grant really hammers it.
Indeed, he's doing everything he can to keep the lead, and he's again very deep in that left-hander ahead of the carousel. When David, thinking about sneaking up the inside.
This section that comes now is not good one for David to pass. He will have to be patient now. He can pass here.
He just needs to stay close because
he's up in the braking area now, but that's hard. because Grant brakes very late, very well.
Oh no, David!
Oh, he managed to save it. But you see, that's really what we were talking about. Since Grant's car is not handling properly, Grant manages, because he has such so much talent, to keep it on track. But keeping it on track is one thing, and being safe is a different one. And the car is constantly sideways and weaving from one side to the other, and this makes it very dangerous to be there wheel to wheel with him.
Indeed, and I'm a bit disappointed in David as well, because I noticed the lap before that David actually had a draft away when he was that close to Grant going into turn 1. So I thought if he would just hold on for the last bit of the lap, he could have had a go into turn 1 or 3. Unfortunately, he tried in Canada corner instead, and he unfortunately had a bit of a spin. But as you said, a good recovery. And he has, I'd say, about 5 seconds.
He's now chasing David Saber.
I didn't think we'd be saying that ahead of this race.
Oh, David made a slight error there, and Yves was able to get by. I don't know, maybe David's car indeed has damage, or maybe the tires are completely worn, the fronts, or I don't know. This is a bit strange.
The only place I could consider him having a bit of damage is in the front left.
Maybe.
But because of where he's been off I believe he's been off in Canada and the last corner. But more likely perhaps is because of all the spins and such that he has overheated the tires. I'm just riding on board with Yves for a little bit to see if David can get a run on him on any of the straights and make his way by again, because Yves' Ferrari is probably one of the slowest cars in a straight line. But of course light and very quick in the mid to high speed corners. Doesn't look like it. Looks like David is struggling with the car in one way or another. Difficult to say.
He's gaining about 0.2 of a second on Grant each lap, so he's definitely quicker, but
Oh yeah, sorry, I was thinking of Saber, but yeah, David Junt is
we've actually 3 Davids on track: David Saber, David Jacks, David Junt.
yeah, and David Saber.
More than 2, but 0.5 of a second probably actually. He's definitely quicker than Grant, but it's a situation we have noted many times. One thing is driving there, and the other is overtaking.
Indeed, but he can see Grant in the carousel and going down the longer straights, so he can see the carrot that he wants to get to. So he definitely has the incentive. When he really closes up in Canada.
Yeah, it's almost like I say, half a second per lap. That's actually a lot quicker than the car in front, but we are seeing not enough to pass when you have a car that is quicker in the wrong place, so to speak. Grant's car is clearly getting his speed from the main streets, good traction coming out of the corners. David is very likely quicker in the corners, but when he gets to Grant, what he finds out is that Grant's car is there blocking the corner for him. He can't make his speed be more effective because of that car in front of him. And then when they get to the straight, then Grant is gone. So it's a hard situation for David Jant.
Indeed it is. But he's certainly giving it 110% at the moment. Spinning up the wheels, trying to get the power down. Really attacking the entry of the corners. Absolutely on it right here. And you can see of course that Grant is locking up and spinning the tires as well, so that's a bit like blood in the water for a shark.
David always a man that comes out of the unexpected, because remember he started, I think it was 10th in this race, not a spectacular lap time, but there he is, fighting for the lead and with very competitive lap times.
Indeed, and Grant now gets slightly held up by the looks of things. That's Timo Vermeersch in the...
Yeah, but this section won't favor David Jant very much for overtaking either.
Fair enough. He dives up the inside there, which should compromise his exit just a little bit. So all in all, it comes out the same difference, I'd say. And to be fair, that section is very difficult to be lapped in as well, so...
Less than 2 seconds now.
And David has a fantastic turn 3 as well, gets on the power very nice and early and very clean as well. But he'll probably want to get by as soon as he catches him, otherwise he may end up in the same situation he was in before. Let's quickly have a look. 14, 15 laps to go, if I count that correctly.
We'll see how this goes, because meanwhile Mick Chapman is catching up with Juha Bosch, and it surprised me that he gets that 10th position, because he's apparently quicker. We'll see later how that goes, because the fight now, main fight is in the lead. David Jant now recovering from his former error and trying to put some pressure there on Grant Riddle.
A car off the road. I believe that is either Raúl or Raúl Jereb.
That's Raúl Jereb, yes. I think he moved out of the way. That's a very quick section, not very fit for overtaking, and he knew it was the leaders coming. He doesn't have anything to lose, so he very graciously moved aside to allow them to get back, to get by without any interference.
Indeed, this has been a fantastic lap by nicely held.
The exit of the third. My goodness.
That's great to see, but it's not that quick. So David Juntas had a fantastic lap here. He's almost completely caught up to Grant. And again on the braking, he's really quick. Now, of course, David is in the dirty air, so he will lose just a little bit of lap time.
Well, but he's slowly running out of laps, because we're already on lap 38, so it's 13 to go.
At least he's finally caught up again, so now he has 14 laps to get it done. Sorry, 13 laps. To get it done, get the move stick, and
But he can't commit any more errors as the one before, but because as we have seen, it takes him then long enough to catch up.
I think that was him.
Actually, Nick Chapman is much closer to Juha Boss now than David Jones is to Grant. So I'm not sure if we should follow those two.
Let's watch this for a little bit. It's nice to see other cars as well.
I'll keep checking the leaders. You can follow the battle.
Yeah.
I'll keep checking the leaders, and you can follow the battle between Chapman and Juha Boss.
Yep, sounds good. Of course, this is a bit of a fight for honor as well. The top 10 finish is great to have, no matter which series it is, and both of these guys, I'm fairly sure, will want the top 10 finish. Both of them, I believe, are very good friends off the track. I'd say it's probably a case of you are having a faster car in a straight line, while Mick Chapman has a car that's easier and more friendly to drive in the inner loop, as Juha locks up going under the Toyota bridge. That brings Chapman right up behind Juha's rear wing, more or less. As he closes up in the left-hander before the carousel.
Oh, Grant Spoon, and it hit him! Oh, that's some drama there. Because David had Spoon on the previous turn. But now look at that.
Wow. Let's quickly try and bring that back, see if we can see
that
what's
was
happened.
a big hit. My goodness.
When he stopped inside in the carousel.
As if Grant's car needed that.
Quite. Of course, David will now have some damage as well. Oh no, not side by side through here. David backs out very definitely using his brain right there, backing out and not risking a massive crash, which would have happened if they went side by side through the kink. Yes, David again has a bit of almost has a run going out to Canada corner. And Grant, I thought he was running wide, but he wasn't. Here comes David Jones round outside, not quite able to do it. Looking for the cutback, has a good run. To the start finish straight. See what happens here is in the draft. When he looks out. Oh no, he's spun again.
Oh my goodness! And he still managed to touch there. And he did a Sullivan because he was able to keep the car oriented. I mean, when Grant sees him back on his tail in some moments, he won't believe how he did it.
Indeed. Yeah, that was a great save. Let's see if he can also mimic Sullivan in terms of actually getting the win.
It was okay to switch to that fight because, well, Nick Chapman hasn't been able to overtake Juha Boss and is himself followed by Jason Whited and in danger of losing his whole position.
So possibly neither Chapman nor Boss would get a top 10 finish. That would be heartbreaking for them. But, they'll still be happy to be able to finish. As here comes Whited trying to look around towards the inside going to Canada. He backs out of it. So his discretion is a better part of valor and would go for it again at a later point.
There he goes. No.
Oh, well, he probably will down the straight.
With these cars, it's so desperating, because you're coming out of the corner, you're seeing things clear, but you're still there. Hold on, and only when the car is perfectly aligned, you can hammer it down. I don't really know what happened to Whitey there, but probably the damage in his car twisted it a bit and made him go to the grass.
Possibly, I didn't quite see either.
So David John crawling back his way up. You can see the car is damaged, but the steering wheel is pretty straight. So whatever damage he got is at least symmetrical.
Presumably, since he hit the front end, he'll have slightly lower top speed, which of course won't help him in the battle with the Grant.
Oh, I heard something there. Oh, it's Gerard Rion hit the wall.
Oh no!
Not sure what happened there, but
he was having such a great race
whoa,
as well.
Jason
But
waited now. Let's see if he can make it now. No. Mick Chapman is defending like a cat upset.
Ooh. It's very wide though.
Yeah, too wide there. Very uncomfortable for the exit. Whitey has a quick line there.
Well, Chapman definitely put up a good fight there. Great defensive work. And we have 10 laps to go. 1.5 seconds covering the top two. We can see here that Jason Whited has some tremendous pace in the car still, despite all the damages. And I'd assume he's picked up.
David John is able to catch up with Grant even in the straights.
Wow.
So probably Grant's damage is now also having some aerodynamic effect.
I'm just following with Whited at the moment, trying to give them some screen time while there's still an opportunity. As he's right behind Ibañez now. As he looks up the inside. Wow! He can make that work. Not quite. Also was able to hold on as Mick Chapman has a half spin in the background, unfortunately, trying to keep up. Neatly parked it outside of the gravel trap. And now, unfortunately, dropping back further with more small mistakes. Whited again is right behind Ibañez. Oh, actually gave him a bit of a nudge, I believe, coming out of the carousel. Big moment for Whited.
Chant is now half a second behind Grant Riddle, and we're back in the same situation. Only in this case, David Jacks has been able to get to within 7 seconds of this boat, which means that this time the error could be way costlier for them, because if David, who has a car I believe with not so much damage, is able to pass them both, I don't see them recovering the position. There goes David John.
Would actually make it though. Not around our side. No, he keeps it on the track. Oh, he sends it up the inside. Yunt with an audacious outbraking maneuver.
Very nice pass there. But Grant hasn't said his last word now. Let's see what the Shadows does now in the straight.
He pulls out. That's some tremendous top speed.
With that top speed.
See what David decides to do.
David is trying to get now the inside in better traction out. Yes. But they
he
won't
has to
suffice,
overlap, I
believe.
think. Oh, not quite able to. What a great exchange.
It is.
Let's quickly try and pull that back so that we can see that audacious overtaking maneuver in all its pride. Because that was...
Oh, and Yves Placé has caught up with Martin Lacina, and they are both in a battle now. Oh my goodness! And Martin has used little Alberto, who was there, to block Yves.
Poor Alberto Jr., but good driving on Lacina's part.
That was very clever. Quite an oval-like maneuver.
Indeed.
Well, it's a pity we have so many battles going on, but I guess we should follow the lead because it's actually for the most important position.
Well, technically, if Yves gets by, I think he should take the championship lead, seeing as he would have a car between him and Saber. But yeah, let's keep looking at this fantastic fight for the lead for now. Because I don't think all is quite said and done here yet.
And David Jacks is getting 1 second per lap on the leaders, so it's clear that both cars are pretty damaged by now. And while they think they are trading the lead, they could be in for a nasty surprise. Oh no 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 no! A car is in the middle. That's Jason Whited. Oh, thanks God he was able to.
Let's see what... Oh dearie me. A lot of smoke and then suddenly a car in the middle. Wow.
Yeah, he was fighting it out with Juha Boss.
And,
yes, they had gone to the grass. And watch out because David Jacks is under 5 seconds from these guys now. Oh, and David Jacks, what the hell? His car is doing a wheelie in the middle of the straight. He's lifting. Probably because of the aerodynamic damage.
wow. Well, it looked like Bose was out in the grass as well, so that could have been another Nicola and Hackman incident.
That we're not able to see all the fights because Yves is really having a go at Martin Latina now. Brilliant fight. Yves in the inside of the brakes.
When he looks out again, does he? Not quite. I think we have just a moment to do that, since it's not a passing opportunity up where the leaders are at the moment. As we can see again, Yves and that Ferrari.
We've said it many times that probably Latina is the latest breaker here in the league, because it's amazing how deep he goes into the corners.
Indeed. That's some great defensive work, and we could also see what we said earlier as well, that
that's the guy you don't want to play chicken with.
Indeed. And also Yves and that Ferrari in a draft is very powerful indeed. He proved that at Watkins Glen when he was holding on to David Saber for so many laps. Looks like Junt has dropped back a little bit, so let's come back to this.
Yeah, that's given Grant a bit of a breathing room. And David Jacks is a stable 4.4 seconds behind, but I think he has them on sight. Yes, he has them on sight now. Let's see what happens when they go past the next sector, because I think he's closer now than those 4 seconds that the
and
lap
Bose is in the pits.
bumper indicates.
Presumably some damage to repair.
Yves has also dropped a bit now.
I think I'd assume he needs to cool his tires. Well, actually,
Yeah, but
yep.
he's running out of laps because there's only 6 left. You see, the first laps happened so slowly, but now everything has sped up.
Yep. And also, I just jumped on board with David Jakes, and he can actually see the leading two right now.
Yeah, if Junt and Grant make any error, even when trying to overtake one each other, it's David Jakes who will capitalize, and he's now under 4 seconds behind both. Whereas Yves has fallen almost 1.5 seconds behind Lacina now.
It feels like Jakes has closed in even more since the kink. He's definitely trying, but he's doing it very methodically, very nice and tidy lines.
This must have been quite a hit for David Junt's morale when he was able to overtake Grant, and then he was absolutely owned on the straight thanks to the top speed of the Shadow.
Indeed, that might be where he's dropping back a little bit to use the drop.
Though one has to say, the pass happened after the start-finish line, which means that probably if David would be able to pull that again in the last lap, he would be able to stick the nose forward and win the race.
Indeed, that's probably what he's holding back to hope to happen, but of course now, with 5 laps to go I believe, he makes a slight error and David Jakes is closing in ever so consistently to these two.
Oh, Timo Vermes is on the grass now. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's returning to track.
After the kink.
David is still coming on the lap here.
Actually 3.1, I'd assume it'll be up below 3 seconds behind for David Jakes when they get to the start finish line. Oh no 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 no! Oh, just trying a bit too hard, David Jakes, right there in the kink. Scrapes along the wall. Sorry David, I put your commentator's curse on you as well right there. So that's probably, unless there's a mistake from the lead too, David probably won't catch up to them now.
So Yves has been able to pass Martin Lacina there, because there must have been some kind of error from Martin. It was too quick and we didn't catch it. Oh, David now putting really the Grant is using Bruno Chacon to block David Junt.
And David giving a bit of a hurry along. But David is in the draft, he could have an opportunity down here. Not quite enough room, he goes to the outside instead. Surely he can't make the move work. Oh, side by side, sideways for Grant. And he holds on just about for now.
Oh, that's Timo in the sand now.
David Junt around outside and a quick right-hander. Didn't work there either. When David just about not able to... Oh, gives Grant a bit of a bump in the carousel. He was held, Grant was held up by Alberto Jr. David Junt has a run going down towards the kink. He backs out of it. When Grant sideways, Junt has a run again. Not quite though. He may be able to brake later. Not quite. Grant covers him off. This is getting very close. with 4 laps to go, 3 laps to go at the end of this lap, I think. When David sells him a dummy again, goes up the inside, a bit of side-by-side contact, I think. And again they are side-by-side, going up the start-finish straight. What an exchange. And here goes Grant, trying around outside, surely not. He's very deep into the corner.
He had to kill much the speed, but
he still has to overlap David. Does the inside though, but there's another long straight with a bit of side-by-side contact under braking. And Grant looking for the good exit. Oh, and, oh no, David on the grass. When he's in the barriers as well. That's too bad. And here comes David Yates as well. Now only a mere half second or something behind David Junt. Wow, that was not a very heated exchange indeed. What a fight. Looks like Yates made a mistake somewhere because he struck back a little bit, and David, I believe, still haven't given up on getting a possible win here. If I know David, he'll be going 200% now, trying to catch up. Clearly a little bit hampered, unless that was just him attacking too much by the slight nudge with the wall, coming out of 3. Of course he had a bit of understeer. Let's see, what's the actual gap? 2.1 seconds with 2 laps to go. That seems like a bit too tall an order. Unfortunately, I believe this is Mick Chapman in the gravel. He's in the gravel in the last corner. It's very unlucky indeed. Here comes Johan Boos.
David Jacks. David Jacks comes now, catching up with David Junt quickly. He's now very close.
Well,
it's going to be very dramatic. 3 laps to the finish.
Indeed, and so is David to Grant as well. This could be a real ding-dong fight to the end. Coming up to 2 laps to go when they cross the finish line, I believe.
So 1 lap to go.
1 lap to go.
And now they will be going all for it.
Oh, indeed, David Yates out wide. We have to turn 1 and We can see David really close to Grant now. He should possibly have one more opportunity at the go. Unless he makes any kind of error. Grant just needs to try and hold on the best he can. We can see David is really strong on the brakes, closing in really quickly. Yeah, he'll have half a lap more or less to try and get the move done to get the win. I believe that Jakes is too far back unless there's an error or they take each other out. This will be very interesting to watch. Going into the carousel, Grant again a little bit wide. He's very early on the power. David has a bit of a moment.
This must be so desperate for David Jump.
Let's see through the king.
I think he will try it in this last section.
Definitely so, he has to run. Grant covers him off.
Pulling Grant there to go in there.
Round outside.
Now trying to.
Oh, bit of contact.
No, that won't work. Let's see if he even loses the third position, the second position. No.
Don't think he will.
Probably not.
So here comes Grant.
Well.
Oh. No, I think he
He's
held
in the
on.
grass now. And look at that. David Jacks is on his tail now almost at one surface.
And across the start-finish line comes Grant Riddall and picks up the win. Great defensive work. David Jund gets second and David Jakes gets third. That was a great exchange between Grant and David. I don't think either of them will be too angry about anything in that. Oh, and Yves has dropped back. Yves has had a mistake or error or something. Wow. Because Martin Lacina looks to be picking up fourth position here. Going into Canada corner.
And fifth is going to David Saber, who has been able to save it at the end of the day with the top 5.
Indeed, and still finishing ahead of Yves.
Suffices to keep the lead of the championship.
Indeed it will, and he will actually even extend the championship lead if only by a point or two, but still. As Martin Lacina comes up the hill and crosses the start-finish line to finish fourth. David Saber just going through the last corner now.
And we just missed it that Timo Vermeers and Christian Daguerre diced it in the last lap for the 13th position, which Timo got.
Oh wow. Congratulations to Timo. As Yves comes towards the last corner to finish 6th. Gabriel Sturr, I believe, still has to finish. He's in 7th. 8th, just crossing the finish line now, would be Raoul Yereb. 9th for Gerard Riot, just about to cross the finish line. Jason Whitehead gets the top 10 finish he was, I suppose, looking for after his lap 1 troubles. 11th for Mick Chapman with a slightly bent BRM. 12th for Juha Boos. 13th, as you mentioned earlier, for Timo Vermeers after a last lap dice with Christian Dauger. So those two, I hope, will be happy with having a battle towards the end of the race. And Alberto Junior picks up 15th position. And Bruno Chacon, I believe, will have picked up 16th as our last runner and finisher. Also out of the race from earlier troubles, about halfway through the race, was Jason Fitch, Adam Hackman, Brian Yannick, Pascal Mikla, Mikael Drexler, Jan Kowalski, Philippe Enrique, Pascal Khalide, Jean-Marie Placet and Steve Parker, unfortunately retiring on lap 1. But yeah,
well,
big
almost 2
congratulations
hours
to
of
Grant.
racing here. So, I'm not sure if there will be some interviews, but I have to run now. It was a
Okey-dokey.
pleasure to broadcast with you as usual. But I have to say goodbye now to everybody and see you on the next one.
Thank you very much, Alberto, for joining me, and hope you have a good week ahead of you.
Thank you. Bye.
User disconnected from your channel.
So thank you to Alberto. While we wait to see if any of the drivers wants to come and have a chat with me, let's quickly go over the trivia question, which got a bit squeezed in this somewhat hectic race, where the question was, who won the last Can-Am race held at Road America on August 25th, 1974? Was it A. Jackie Oliver, B. Scooter Patrick, or C. Bob Nagel? And I gotta say, I got this wrong when I tried to answer the question. But the answer to the question is B. Scooter Patrick, driving, by the looks of things, one of the McLarens. But seeing as no drivers are in the green room, I think we will cap off the broadcast. So to everyone watching, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much to all the drivers for putting on such a great show for us all. And thank you also to Pascal and Alberto for joining me in the booth during part of the race. And next race that you should be able to watch will be next weekend, when we will have the French GP in the F1 1971 Championship, coming to you from Paul Ricard. But until then, take care, and I hope you have a good night.